This video is going to show you how to export your object as a wireframe. We won't always be exporting as a wireframe, but in project 1 we want to do that so we can show our audience how we constructed our object. So I've got an object here. The first thing we want to do is we want to go to our render settings. If your render settings look differently than mine, make sure you don't have the new settings. I'll put them over in the right hand corner, so make sure that new layouts is off. And if you go to the standard setup, you should now see them right here. So I'm going to go to my settings, and the first thing I want to do, by default your renderer is probably set to standard. I want to make sure that that is set on viewport renderer, and that'll save what we see in the window. I'm also going to go under save. I'm going to find where my file is going and make sure it is going in a place where I can find it. So I've made a folder here called demo. I'm going to put it in there and save it. I'm going to leave this, because we're using this to print on a poster, I'm going to leave this set to TIFF, which is a good file format for print. You can see here later on this semester we'll be using a lot more of these, including even there's a Photoshop file extension that you can export right into Photoshop if you want to do some post-production work. So I've got this here, I've got it named as render demo. It's going into my folder on my desktop, and then I'm going to go to my output. You can leave this at 1280 by 720. And then I turn this up. It by default will be at about 72, which will give you kind of a fuzzy image. So we're going to turn this up and make sure is it at least 200. If we were going to be printing this larger, we would want to go larger than that. Under frame range, right now we only had one frame, so we're just going to say current frame. When we get into animation, we'll want to pay attention to this, but for now we just want to make sure it's on the current frame. Once you have that done, we should be able to close this window. And then we're going to go to this, and if you click here and look, there's some options here. There's something called an interactive render region, which I'll introduce later, but right now we don't need any of that. We just want to click on this main button, which will take our image and render it. So it says it took 0 seconds, so that makes me a little concerned that maybe it didn't actually export. So let me go look and see. Yes, okay, it just was a really quick render, and I should be able to open this now. And see, here is my wireframe, and this is what we're going to use to put on our poster. All right, that is the end of this video. If you have any questions, obviously ask in class.